Thank you for coming on into the live and sharing your essence with me in this eternal moment of which we all share an inextricable and inexorable part. Thank you for doing your part, for coming on in each and every day, and we'll do the same without wasting a single second of your time. Bada bing, bada boom, we go into the charts. So BTC still holding the range of that 41k drop from 43, basically 44 all the way down to 41k, and we're holding this range. Do we go down and tap that 39k at some point, or do we bounce up into the 786 level here and reject off that like we were calling for yesterday? We have some red folders to look at. Coming into the New York session, you will have a PPI red folder announcement. Also the FOMC towards the daily close today, so you have a lot of red folders this week. Just look at that to beware of your trades. Let's go ahead and look at high block capital. What is high block, you say? Well, people lock that liquidity into the charts to get burnt to a crisp by the market maker for not using a stop loss, and we get to see what those crispy characters are, so let's do it now. So 1 minute time frame has about $9.5 billion still to reclaim up in this region in terms of short liquidity. They're faking out the longs. Will they do so? They reclaimed this wick and reclaimed about the 786 level of this one, so they could take off at this point here, going to that pool we outlined for you yesterday. What do I mean by that? In case you missed it, here it is. We'll just go hold ourselves to the flame of what we potentially are seeing here. A possibility of coming up into these pools we already outlined for you from yesterday, unchanged. Up in this region you have a, let's zoom in just to show you. You got about $411 million up at 43,338, and another pool down here, 100x long, 411 million. Basically the 50x and the 100x pools are labeled here at 43k. Also, this impulse to the downside has a Fibonacci level here, the 618, looking for a rejection off of the golden pocket for a continuation C leg down into this region at the 39k. Why do we think that? Well, coming to the higher time frame pools, 7-day, basically it's gone sideways, so my analysis is pretty much unchanged. You do have this large amount down here, so even if we come up to that 43k region, unless we intend on putting in a higher high, we could be coming down into this region. So you eventually pull the trigger, just like we were talking about pulling the trigger on the short, and you see how far it goes. There's no way to tell how intense of a veracity it has. Maybe this long rips up to higher highs. No one knows until it happens. So just placing yourself in a position on one side and putting your risk in mind as you do so is all you can do. So looking at the monthly time frame, you do have these double-digit pools starting to percolate up above, but you also have them down below as we start to see this weight to the downside occur, and then that B to C idea does become a potential reality on the monthly time frame. If we go to the 3-month, we also talked about when it does finally clear a range, it does leave some on the table. We've gone over examples of that in the past where they finally leave those protected positions alone as they rip up each time. So the same is to be said of the shorts. They don't clear a range entirely. That would be not profitable for anyone. So they have to give some profit to some side as they imbalance towards the other. So $25 billion down at 39.6 here on the 6-month time frame. We could be seeing weight down there. You do have 36 billion up at 45.3. Once again, they could leave this as a protected position pool on the table if they retrace up into this 10 billion up at 43k, and then start to head on down. Going to the 2-year for that last bit of sauce. Going to the 2-year, you have 76 billion at 45.2, 32 billion 39.6, and of course you do have some pools up above in 49k now, so we could be heading there at some stage. The pools are getting there, so having a little bit of a retrace into this region could be the case. Let's go back to the monthly and head into the momentum charts. All right, momentum turning on, link in the description for more. Heads up display is on. Scroll down to features, toggle everything at your leisure, and you can see it in its glory. Read about each component, baselines, trend lines, stochastic array, dynamic alerts to your phone, so you don't need anyone but the alert set. As it goes over this array here, so let's go see what the array is saying. The array was saying 6 time frames oversold. You locked in a 5 time frame oversold here on the 12-hour. The 5s and the 6s are mighty keen to bounce. We did come to that 12-hour cloud. Now the 12-hour cloud is starting to curve in a manner here. If we bring this down here like this, but it could give one last burst up a bit higher to that 2 o'clock region. The cloud insinuation does give you this with the baseline cross down event that we were seeing back here on the 12-hour on Saturday, was giving this insinuation of downside. Now even if you come up to this pool, you have this fat boy baseline to contend with that you could possibly reject and come lower. Let's go ahead, and we're jumping the gun here, so let's go to the higher time frame and take a look. It's in a book, A Reading Rainbow. Let's go to the 3-day first. 3-day has 2 days until this candle closes. After all the red folders are said and done, do we get this cross down event over here? Is this baseline going to close with this cross down? If so, even if you get a bearish retest up here and that locked in as a close down effect, the same thing occurred here where we crossed down and we came up for a bearish retest here in August 8th, and that was a nice short opportunity to the downside. So that's about six days away, maybe. So see what the 6 days from now, nearly a week from today, what will it be like? Will we be kind of flirting with the idea of a short 3-day time frame on the oscillator is coming down on the stochastic, money flow above the RSI suggesting some fatigue. Have yet to cross down on the Williams, but you are getting to that overbought status. The last time we were there was up in this February 24th range when we started to drop heavily, and again here in April, which we dropped heavily, and then again in July, which we dropped heavily. So the times that the Williams gets high on the 3-day are to be not discounted. The last time here in April of 2022 we dropped heavily. So when you get to this place on the 3-day on the Williams, you are kaput. So be careful of your longs out there and consider possibly either paying yourself or switching sides. If you come to the daily time frame, the baseline, the Williams is starting to come down here in a manner. Could be suppressing the daily reset here. The daily reset on the stochastic is inbound, and we have the money flow above the RSI suggesting it comes down to 50 some more as it resets on the daily time frame. Now going even lower to the 22, which resets, it's one of those broken time frames discovered by yours truly, looking at the laminar flow of time and how the slits on the laminar flow of time create these probability resets. If you don't know what I'm saying, it's all right. I will go over it at a later juncture. So basically this resets the time frame of the 22, and it looks like you're getting a bit of disparity here on the money flow. This is also something to note on the 22. When you get the money flow disparity, it does start to insert some money. So this is insinuating that we do go up to that B level, which would be a nice little bounce to the tune of 5% or so. So if you're looking for that idea, perhaps that is going to occur as the 22-hour suggests. Williams is still coming down here, starting to curve ever so slightly. Doesn't always have to get a hard reset, although a hard reset like we did in October 12th was a good opportunity, as was September with the rocket ships. They both had rocket ships, but yeah, that was a good opportunity. We're out the cloud on the 22 and the 12, switching to the 12-hour. This cloud on the 22 and the 12 is proving to be some sort of support. And I remember there was this guy who is he's a ICT smart money concept purist, and he kind of pejoratively said, "Oh, did your cloud call the dump?" And it's like, well, yes, it did. But the cloud is just volumetric in nature, and this average of the open, close, high, and low on Heiking Ashi is an analysis of price action. So everything here on my chart is price action derivative. So it's real information. It's not something that's made up or false. So the people that just look at candles only, it's just like putting blinders on willfully. And if you're profitable, that's your thing, go for it. But don't hate on other people that use other tools, period. Just live and let live, profit and let profit. So the 12-hour time frame is also coming beneath the money flow here. RSI also suggestive of this bounce up, confirming on the 12-hour, coming to that B level. And the cool thing is we give a direction and it plays out. We were talking about shorting and it came down. Now we're talking about going up here and it will possibly go here. We don't flip-flop. We talk a direction and it goes that direction. So it doesn't really matter what you think of how messy or whatever my chart may be. It doesn't matter. It matters whether you can understand it. So the 6-hour is also coming beneath the RSI here, suggestive of this cross up event. And yeah, this thinning of the cloud. Even if we come up to that 6-hour cloud curvature here and getting the bearish retest, that could be some nice acceleration zone here. All right, we reclaimed both the wicks here for the most part. We didn't take this one, so we're going to put that as a last line of defense kind of thing. So that, here we go. If we go to the 4-hour has a bunch of fair value gaps up in here. If you don't know what a fair value gap is, there is this free indicator here: fractal break, imbalance, fair value gap, liquidity void. You can turn it on. It will highlight where fair value gaps are. They had 2 here, they recovered them, and then they're recovering this one on the 4-hour. But there's this one big one up here that they could come and get 50% of. The 50% point of that would be at this 42,890 region, which is why we have that here just shy of the 618. So I don't need this on personally, but I do have it on the charts. And if you go to the 4-hour, the 4-hour cross up event of the baselines is the first sign of reversal. We had the first sign of reversal back here for the other side of the equation, and sure enough, it reversed. So are we getting a little bit of a bounce here on the 4-hour time frame? Could be the case, looking at that liquidity to the upside that we saw on the 1 minute, suggestive of that too. If we come to the hourly now, as we butt our head against the cloud, this is why we were seeing you'd have to make it above this cloud to get here. And sure enough, yesterday we did not muster the strength. When the cloud is mighty thick like this, when you got this thick purple band here, it's not likely to break through in a V-shaped manner right away. It'll double bottom and then thin this. And then this is why we always draw this curvature, because it will create this kind of curve-like behavior. Similar to here, it curved and then it bearishly retest with the ABC, A, B, see ya, and then it bearishly retest this curving cloud on the other side. See what I mean? So this curvature insinuated this move before it ever happened. This curvature was here. It was not there. It was turning purple here, and you bearishly retest and you came down like this. So the same thing could be occurring here, where you break out and you do something like this. You break out, you come back down, and then you go up to this region. Okay, so you look for this to thin, and then it will flip in this manner to the opposite side, and then this would be your market structure shift, whatever you want to call it, with whatever convoluted support and resistance terms you add to the flavor, and call it smart money concepts. You can put that here and you could use a Fibonacci and take this impulse to the impulse here, and then look for some sort of, see how the lines line up. It's pretty interesting. But yeah, like trying to find a hourly play. The hourly is also getting this money flow beneath the RSI, suggestive of it's still going higher. So the analysis from yesterday holds true. Coming up to this region, to that B region, seems like a fairly nice idea to think about. News withstanding, coming to this 15-minute, you see all these time frames oversold. The 5s and the 6s and the 7 over here was a very nice alert you could have received to your phone if you were so inclined. And yeah, that is my story, and I'm sticking to it for BTC. Short but sweet. Let's go to the Bitcoin dominance. The dominance also getting oversold, suggestive of a bounce. Let's go ahead and go to that higher time frame first. We came to a 786 region, so finding a bounce off of this region and possibly coming lower based off of that 12-hour cloud. Who knows? USDT dominance, the analysis remains the same. We had the rocket ship down here. We're butting our head against the 12-hour cloud. This 12-hour cloud is starting to curve ever so slight. Does it continue? Let's go to the lower time frame, the 6-hour. So the 6-hour found some support on the outskirts of this cloud on the 6. So if we take this, take this and move it up here, we're starting to get some curvature on the 6-hour cloud. So do we see this come down and kiss this 6-hour cloud? This would most likely be an equilibrium play, yeah, or a 618. So it would be coming to the 618 region and possibly knocking more people into USDT. So this coincides with the narrative of people putting some money into trades only to get knocked out. Could go lower as well, but this narrative lines up with the rise for Bitcoin going to total 3. Total 3 having that nuke play out with the M formation at a deviation level. Let's go to a higher time frame and see if the analysis needs to be adjusted. No, it does not. So basically same as yesterday, since we were in a holding pattern. We were watching NQ rise up yesterday. We took that long to the upside twice in the Discord. We were going over some imbalances. We took it for 100 ticks multiple times, 128, 111. We made some nice gains on NQ yesterday on that rip to the upside. We are getting some nukes here as it tries to go into all-time high levels. If you look at the daily time frame, we have some all-time highs up here at 16,768. Are we trying to tap that wick up there and put in some all-time highs for NQ? Contracts rolled over. We got the dollar finding some support on this one level. So we could be bouncing up some more here into some of this bearish resistance on the bearish trend-based fib from this impulse retrace to the downside. possibly shoulder, head and shoulder here. This is something interesting to note. So we could be breaking up to that 236 level. Watch these levels for the dollar. If we break these resistance levels, the 706 in particular, 104.395, then we could be heading higher to here. So these are the bearish trend-based fibs that if they're not, so far they've been respected. If they are disrespected, then we are no longer bearish. So the bearish levels are down here. We bounced off the 618 with the rocket ship. It's all about the FOMC and the news. Gold coming down to the 786 level and possibly finding a store of value support bounce here. Who knows? You still have some gaps up in here on the daily time frame that you could recover. Looks like you are coming to reclaim this candle in its entirety on the daily time frame. Let's go ahead and take a look at the chat. How's everyone doing? Yo, what's up? Anyone have anything they want to look at? We're going to look at oil for my man Peyton. Let's see what oil is doing. Just making disrespected moves down beyond the 786. So oil getting some issues off that 786 possibility, ripping down lower, coming down to the 4-hour. So what is it trying to reclaim here? Is it trying to reclaim some of this action over here? It looks like there's a gap in here that it's possibly coming down to, if it hasn't reached already. Let's go ahead and put that level there and come on back. Looks like we're there now. So we reclaim this gap down here, and there was no interest generated. So you do have this entire wick down here which has yet to be reclaimed. I'm out of my league with analyzing oil. I mean, technically all of the things should be the same, but they all do have personalities that slightly vary in the terms of the volatility. Yeah, so you did get a rocket ship here, so kind of sweeping possibly this wick region. You do have this entire wick on the 12-hour which has not been reclaimed. If we go to a, sorry, I need to use replay mode, not do this one. So this entire wick here, where does that exist in lower time frames? Let's go back in time. So we can look at one thing, one request, and then we gotta bid ya adieu, unfortunately. So if you have one request, I'd love to take a look at something for you. What? I don't know why it's not loading, but okay. Sorry, gotta give that up. I don't have the bandwidth right now for whatever reason. It seems weird. Anyway, so let's go take a look at see what request was made, if any, and then we'll bid you adieu. Analysis basically unchanged from yesterday. We're getting a cross up of the 4-hour and the 1-hour. Even if you come up to this region, the cloud on the 6-hour looks like it could be getting a bearish retest to come lower. So beware if you get this surge up, this ABC to the upside, only to be a B to a C lower. Let's go see what you guys have to say. Nothing. All right, well then, short but sweet it is. Thank you for coming on into the live and sharing your essence with me in this eternal moment of which we all share an inextricable and inexorable part. Thank you for doing your part, for coming on in each and every day. We'll do the same, bringing the fire.